Hello, my dear students. My name is Bratаева А.А. I am a senior lecturer of A.A. University of Department of Foreign Languages and Translation Studies. I want to represent your video lectures on the subject grammar's aspect. Maybe all of you know the importance of grammar rules in English. It is very great. It also helps to convey respect and professionalism, which are essential for building strong relationships. In conclusion, grammar is an essential aspect of the English language. It helps to ensure that communication is clear, precise, and effective. Grammar is the backbone of any language, particularly English, in which comprehension and interaction among people occur. If you fail to learn grammar properly, the simplest of phrases could easily become ambitious or wrong. And also, to be able to apply grammar means literally and figuratively. People possess the means to express themselves both in writing and verbally, which is vital to learning, working, and simply living amongst other people. In this section, we'll delve into the key reasons why grammar is so important. I will represent you 15 different subjects. The first one is parts of English speech. The first lecture, parts of speech in English. A part of speech, also called a word class, is a category that describes the role of word plays in a sentence. Understanding the different parts of speech can help you analyze how words function in a sentence and improve your writing. The parts of speech are classified differently in different grammars, but most traditional grammars list 8 parts of speech in English: nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and injections. Some modern grammars add others, such as determinants and articles. Many words can function as different parts of speech depending on how they are used. For example, laugh can be a noun. For example, I like your laugh, or a verb example, don't laugh. You can check whether you are using each of the parts of speech correctly using your grammar checker. Nouns. What do we know about nouns? A noun is a word that refers to a person, concept, place, or thing. Nouns can act as the subject of a sentence. For example, the person or thing performing the action, or as the object of a verb. For example, the person and thing affected by the action. There are numerous types of nouns, including common nouns used to refer to non-specific people, concepts, places, or things. Proper nouns used to refer to specific people, concepts, places, or things. And collective nouns used to refer to a group of people or things. Examples. Nouns in a sentence. I have never read that book. Ellie lives in France. The band played only new songs. Other types of nouns include countable and uncountable nouns, concrete nouns, abstract nouns, and gerunds. There is a note for you. Proper nouns, for example, New York, are always capitalized. Common nouns, for example, city, are only capitalized when they are used at the start of a sentence. About pronouns. A pronoun is a word used in the place of a noun. Pronouns typically refer back to an antecedent, a previously mentioned noun, and must demonstrate correct pronoun agreement. Like nouns, pronouns can refer to people, places, concepts, and things. There are numerous types of pronouns, including personal pronouns used in place of the other, proper name of a person, demonstrative pronouns used to refer to specific things and indicate their relative position, and interrogative pronouns used to produce questions about things people, and ownership. For example, pronouns in a sentence: I don't really know her. That is a horrible painting. Who owns a nice car? It's a question. About verbs, a verb is a word that describes an action, for example, jump. Occurrence, for example, to become, or state of being, for example, to exist. Verbs can indicate what the subject of a sentence is doing. Every complete sentence must contain at least one verb. Verbs can change form depending on subject. For example, first person singular tense, for example, simple past, mood, example, interrogative, and voice, example, passive voice. Regular verbs are verbs which simple past and past participle are formed by adding ed to the end of the word or d if the word already done. Irregular verbs are verbs whose simple past and past participles are formed in some other way. For example, regular and irregular verbs. Will you check if this book is in stock? I have already checked twice. I heard that you used to sing. Yes, I sang in choir for 10 years. Okay, guys, let's pass to the second lecture, tenses in English. What is tense? A tense is a form of the verb that always to express time. The tense of the verb tells us when an event of something existed or when a person did something. Past, present, and future are the three main types of tenses. The three main types of tenses in English are past, present, and future. Let's speak about past tense. The past tense is used to describe an activity or an event that has happened in the past, or a past state of being, and needs to include a time maker for when the event or action took place. Structural formula. For example, subject plus verb, the second form plus object. Examples. We met yesterday. He bought a new laptop last week. Present tense. The simple present tense or present tense is one of the most basic tenses in English. We use present tense to talk about something that is currently going on, something that is habitually performed or a state that generally or currently exists. Structural formula. Subject plus verb ending ses plus object. Examples. She lives in Spain. Bob drives a taxi. About future tense. The future tense is a verb tense used to describe an event or action that hasn't yet happened and expected to happen in the future. Structural formula. Subject plus shall or will plus verb with the ending ses plus object. Examples. He will be here soon. Now that we have understood the three main types of tenses, communicating in English with a native English speaker will become easier. But to make communication in English easier and simpler, we need to learn more about tenses and how to conjugate them. For a complete guide on how to conjugate tenses, check out your guide on English conjunctions. Apart from the three main types of tenses, present, past, and future, there are different subtypes of tenses which are mentioned below. About past tense. The past tense is used to describe an activity or an event that has happened in the past or a past state of being and needs to include a time maker for when the event or action took place. Structural formula. Subject plus verb, the second form of the verb plus object. Examples. We met yesterday. He bought a new laptop last week. Present tense. The simple present tense or present tense is one of the most basic tenses in English. We use present tense to talk about something that is currently going on, something that is habitually performed, or a state that generally or currently exists. Structural formula. Subject plus verb and with ending ses and plus object. There are some examples here. She lives in Spain. Bob drives a taxi. Future tense. The future tense is a verb tense used to describe an event or action that hasn't yet happened and is expected to happen in the future. Structural formula: subject plus shall will with the verb ses plus object. And also there are some examples. He will be here soon. Now that we have understood the three main types of tenses, communicating in English with a native English speaker will become easier. But to make communication in English easier and simpler, we need to learn more about tenses and how to conjugate with them. For example, complete guide on how to conjugate tenses. Check out your guide on English conjunctions. Apart from the three main types of tenses, present, past, and future, there are different subtypes of tenses which are mentioned below. Past continuous. The past continuous tense is used to describe events or actions that have already occurred in the past. It's employed to describe any action which has happened in the past. It has its own structural formula. Subject plus helping verb was or were in plural form, plus verb plus object. There are some examples here. I was watching TV. We were sleeping. She wasn't eating her lunch. Lecture 3. Modal verbs and their usage. A modal verb, also called a modal auxiliary verb, is used along with the main verb to express possibility, ability, permission, or necessity. For example, in the statement, you must leave, must is a modal verb indicating that it is necessary for the subject, you, to perform the action of the verb leave. Frequently used modal verb include can, may, might, could, should, would, will, and must. Less common ones like shall and ought are still used in specific contexts. Modal verbs are followed by the main verb's infinitive without to and remain consistent across subjects. In past context, forms like could, might, should, and would indicate hypothetical or must scenarios. Modal verbs are used in diverse sentence structures such as questions. Could you help me, please? Suggestions. You should try the signal. And habits. I would often walk to school. Modal verbs can be tricky, but the good news is that they are straightforward once you learn how to work. Below, we explain everything you need to know to use modal verbs with ease. Modal verbs definition. Modal verbs show possibility, intent, ability, or necessity. Common examples of modal verb include can, should, and must. Because they are a type of auxiliary verb, helper verb, they are used alongside the infinitive form of the main verb of a sentence. Modal verbs are used to express certain hypothetical conditions, such as advisability, capability, or requests. Refer to the complete list below. They are used alongside a main verb to inflect its meaning. Consider the difference between these two examples. I swim every Tuesday. I can swim every Tuesday. The first example is a simple factual statement. The speaker participates in a swimming activity every week on Tuesdays. The second example uses the modal verb can. Notice how the meaning changes slightly. The speaker doesn't necessarily swim every Tuesday. They are saying that they are capable of swimming every Tuesday, or that the possibility exists for them to swim every Tuesday. It's hypothetical. Because modal verbs are auxiliary, they cannot generally be used on their own. A modal verb can appear alone in a sentence only if the main verb is implied because it has previously been established. Can you swim every Tuesday? It's a question, yeah? Yes, I can. It's an answer. Modal verbs are quite common in English. You have seen them in action hundreds of times, even if you didn't know what they are called. Here are the most frequently used ones: can, may, might, could, should, would, will, must. There are other, less common modal verbs. Some, like shall and ought, are rarely used any longer. There are also verbs that can function either as main verbs or as modal auxiliaries depending on the context. Got, need, and have all behave like modal verbs in the common colloquial expressions got to, need to, and have to. Some modal verbs express specific conditions that don't come up often, like dare in its modal form in dare I ask. The word used in the idiomatic phrase used as I used to be an English student too behaves like a modal verb with only a past tense form. Okay guys, let's pass lecture 4. Conditional sentence. We have 4 types of conditional sentence in the English language. We shall consider each of them. Conditional sentences are complex sentences with 2 parts: a condition starting with if or unless, and a result used to express possibilities or hypothetical situations. There are 4 types of conditional sentences. The zero conditional is used for any universal truths or general facts. For example, if water reaches 100 degrees, it boils. The first conditional is used for real and possible future events. Example, if you exercise regularly, you will feel healthier. The second conditional is used for unlikely or hypothetical scenarios. Example, I won $1 million, I would travel the world. The third conditional is used for unreal or hypothetical situation in the past. Example, if they had prepared better, they would have won the match. Have you ever stumbled upon a sentence that starts with if or unless? If so, you have encountered a conditional sentence. Conditional sentences are everywhere, in books, speeches, and daily conversations. They help us express possibilities, hypothetical situations, and consequences. Here, we will explore the 4 types of conditional sentences and the formulas they follow with the next examples. What are conditional sentences? What does it mean? Zero conditional sentences. It means facts and general truths. First conditional sentences. It shows real possibilities. The second conditional sentence. It shows unreal or improbable situations. The third conditional sentences. Past hypothetical. Exemptions and special cases with conditional sentences. What are conditional sentences? Conditional sentences are a type of complex sentence. They have 2 parts: a condition, often introduced by if or unless, and also a result. The condition sets up a situation, and the result tells us what will happen if that situation occurs. For example, in the first sentence, if it rains, we will stay indoors. The phrase if it rains in the condition is the condition, and we will stay indoors is the result. Understanding these sentences is key to expressing and understanding hypothetical situations in English. There are 4 main types of conditional sentences, which we will explore below. A table showing the 4 types of conditional sentences, including their uses, formulas, and example sentences. Zero conditional sentences. It shows facts and general truths. The zero conditional is the simplest type of conditional sentence. It is used to express facts and general truths. The zero conditional sentence, it contains if plus simple present or simple present. If you heat ice, it melts. In this sentence, the condition is if you heat ice, and the result is it melts. This is a general truth, as it's always the case that you heat ice and it melts. Here are also a few more examples. If you mix blue and yellow, you get green. If it's a weekday, I work to work. If you don't eat, you get hungry. Remember, the zero conditional sentence is all about facts and general truths. It is not about specific situations or possibilities. It is about what always is true. Lecture 5. Let's speak about passive voice. As we know, we have active voice and passive voice. Yeah, there are two grammatical states used in English: the actual states and the passive state. Active voice is a grammatical category that indicates the action in a sentence. Predicate is performed by the subject. His parents love him. His parents love him. Yeah, it's an active voice. I did his homework yesterday. I did my homework yesterday. Passive voice is a grammatical category that indicates what the subject, who, what, doesn't independently perform the action indicated in the sentence, but experiences this action on itself, that is, in the object in this action. The one on whom the action is performed is called the passive subject. Passive subject, passive voice. He is loved by his parents. He is loved by his parents. Passive voice, literally. My homework was done by me yesterday. Yeah, my homework was done by me yesterday. Passive voice forms. The passive voice is formed using by auxiliary verb to be in the required tense and the past possible. The first form of the semantic verb. Only transitive verbs can perform passive voice forms. The passive voice is used in almost all grammatical sentences. For each tense, the auxiliary verb has to be its own special form. The passive voice is not used in the perfect continuous tenses and in the future continuous tense. Confirmation, denial, question, tense, active, passive, present, simple. Tom brings a package. Tom is bringing a package. The package is delivered. The package is being brought. The package has been brought. In the past tense, this simple Tom brought the package a day ago. Tom brought the package 1 day ago. The package was brought 2 days ago. The package was brought 2 days ago. The package was brought 2 days ago. It is the past tense, passive voice. About future, simple Tom will bring the package. Tom will bring the package. The package will be delivered. The package will be brought. The package will be brought. It will be passive in the future. About present continuous. Tom is writing a letter now. Tom is writing a letter now. The letter is being written right now. The letter is being written right now. Past continuous. Tom was writing a letter at 5 o'clock yesterday. Tom wrote the letter yesterday at 5 o'clock in the evening. The letter was being written at 5 o'clock yesterday. The letter was written yesterday at 5 p.m. Future continuous. Tom will be writing a letter tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Tom will be writing a letter tomorrow at 5 p.m. Doesn't exist. Present perfect. Tom has already brought the package. Tom has already brought the package too. The package has already been brought. It will be passive. The package has already been delivered. Past perfect. Tom had brought the package before you came. Tom brought the package before you arrived. The package had been brought before you came. The package was delivered before you arrived. Future perfect. Tom will have brought the package by 10 o'clock tomorrow. Tom will deliver the package by 10 a.m. tomorrow. The package will have been brought by 10 o'clock tomorrow. The package will be delivered tomorrow by 10 a.m. Lecture 6. Direct and indirect speech in the English language. There are many occasions in which we need to describe an event or action that had happened, and very often that includes repeating that someone said. Such occasions can include a social situation as well as in a Wikimail presentation. In order to describe what people said, there are two different types of speech: direct speech and indirect speech, or reported speech, we can tell it. Read the article below to find out more about these forms and improve your English storytelling skills. Do you want to practice your English speaking skills with small classes with native level teachers? Find out more about Speak Plus now. Direct speech. When we want to describe what someone said, one option is to use direct speech. We use direct speech when we simply repeat what someone says, putting the phrase between speech marks. Paul came in and said, "I'm really hungry." It is very common to say direct speech used in books or a newspaper article. For example, the local MP said, "We plan to make this city a safer place for everyone." As you can see, with direct speech, it is common to say the verb to say, said in the past. But you can also find other verbs used to indicate direct speech, such as ask, reply, and shout. For example, when Mrs. Dees opened the door, I asked, "Have you seen Lee?" She replied, "No, I haven't seen him since lunchtime." The boss was angry and shouted, "Why isn't he here? He hasn't finished this report yet." Indirect speech. When we want to report what someone said about speech marks and without necessarily using exactly the same words, we can use indirect speech, also called reported speech. There are some examples for you. Direct speech. We are quite cold in here. Indirect speech. They say they are cold. When we report about someone says in the present simple as in the above sentence, we normally don't change the tense. We simply change the subject. However, when we report things in the past, we usually change the tense by moving it by one step. For example, in the following sentence, the present simple becomes the past simple in indirect speech. Direct speech. I have a new car. And indirect speech, he said he had a new car. All the other tenses follow similar changes in indirect speech. Here is an example for all the main tenses. The same rule of moving the tenses one step back also applies to modal verbs. For example, using say or tell as an alternative to say, we can also use tell, told in the past. In reported speech, but in this case you need to add the object pronoun. For example, he told me he was going to call Alan. They told her they would arrive a little late. You told us you would already finish the order. Change in time expressions. Sometimes it is necessary to change the time expressions when you report speech, especially when you are speaking about the past and the time references no longer applies. For example, direct speech. I'm seeing my brother tomorrow. Indirect speech. She said she was seeing her brother by the following day. Here are some other examples. The indirect speech. I had a headache yesterday. And indirect speech, you said you had a headache the day before yesterday. Lecture 7. Articles in English. As we know, we have two articles in the English language. A, an, and the. Articles are used before nouns or noun equivalents and are type of an adjective. The definite article the is used before a noun to indicate that the identity of the noun is known to the reader. The identified article an is used before a noun. There is a general or when it is identified not known. There are certain situations in which a noun takes no article. As a guide, The following definitions and tables summarize the basic use of articles. Continue reading for more detailed explanations of the rules and, for example, of how and when to apply them. Let's speak about definite article. Definite article is before a singular or plural form. Indefinite article, it can be put before a singular noun beginning with a consonant sound and before a singular noun beginning with a vowel sound. Count nouns refers to items that can be counted and are either singular or plural. Non-count nouns refers to items that are not counted and are always singular. Count nouns, non-count nouns. Rule number 1. Specific identifier not known an, no article. Rule number 2. Specific identity known as rule 3. All things or things in general, no article. For the purposes of understanding how articles are used, it is important to know that nouns can be either can be counted, or non-count, identified in quantity and cannot be counted. In addition, count nouns are either singular one or plural more than one. Non-count nouns are always in singular form. For example, if we are speaking of water that has been spilled on the table, there can be one drop singular or two or more drops plural of the water on the table. The word drop in this example is a count noun because we can count the number of drops. Therefore, according to the rules applying to count nouns, the drop can be used no article a or the. However, if we are speaking of water in general spilled on the table, it wouldn't be appropriate to count one water or two waters. There would be simply be water on the table. Water is an uncounted noun. Therefore, according to the rules applying to non-count nouns, the water would use no article, but not a. Following are the three specific rules which explain the use of definite and non-definite articles. Rules number 1. Specific identity not known. Use the identifier article or only with a singular count, noun whose specific identity is not known to the reader. Use a before nouns that begin with a consonant sound, and use and before nouns that begin with a vowel sound. Use the article a or an to indicate any noun specified member of a group category. I think an animal is a garage. That man is a scoundrel. We are looking for an apartment. We use article a or an to indicate one in number, as opposed to more than one. I own a cat and 2 dogs. Okay, let's look through prepositions in the English language. Prepositions. Uses. We commonly use prepositions to show a relationship in space or time or a logical relationships between two or more people, places or things. Prepositions are mostly common, followed by a noun, phrase or pronoun underlined. Although most prepositions are single words, some pairs and groups of words operate like single prepositions. They are unable to attend because the bad weather in England. It was the first example. Jack will be playing in the team in place of time. In addition to getting a large fine, both brothers you put in prison for 3 months. I always get nervous when I have to speak in front of an audience. We estimate we will be up to 10,000 people at the concert. Prepositions or conjunctions. Some words which are prepositions also function as conjunctions. When we use a preposition that is followed by a clause, it is functioning as a conjunction. When we use a preposition that is followed by a noun phrase, it stays as a preposition. Among the most common are after, as, before, since, until. After we had met him last night, I texted his sister at once conjunction. After the meeting last night, I texted his sister at once. Preposition. We'll just have to wait until they decide what to do. Conjunction. Okay, we'll wait here until 6 o'clock. We also use here preposition. Prepositions or adverbs. Several words which are prepositions also belong to the word class of adverbs. These include about, cross, around, before, beyond, in, inside, near, opposite, outside, past, round, though, under, up, within. There were lots of people waiting for a taxi outside the club. Also, it has a preposition. A. Where is your cat? B answered, she is outside. Here is an adverb. The gallery is opposite the Natural History Museum. Preposition. A. Can you tell me where the bus station is? B answered, it's over here, just opposite. Adverb. Prepositions and abstract meanings. Common prepositions that show relationships of space often have abstract as well as concrete meanings. Compare. That map you need is behind the filing cabinet. Basic spatial tense opposition. Everyone is behind the government. Behind gives support. Beyond the hotel were beautiful mountains. Basic spatial space opposition. Learning Chinese in a year was beyond them all. Beyond too difficult, it means too difficult for. Some common prepositions such as at, in, on, and can have abstract meanings. I think you will both need to discuss the problem in private. All three singers were dressed in black. You now have the next day at leisure and can do whatever you wish. While our dog stays on guard all night, even when he is sleeping. Prepositions and adjectives. We commonly use prepositions after adjectives. Here are the most common adjective plus preposition patterns. Adjectives. When can we use it? Preposition. Aware, full, of. There cannot be of the time. Different, separate. From. In French, is French very different from Spanish? Due, similar. To. This picture is similar to the one in one living room. Familiar, wrong. With. That is wrong with Isabel. What happened to her? Good, surprised. At. We were really surprised at the price of food in restaurants on our holiday. Interested. In. Lots of people are interested in Grand Prix racing, but I'm not. Responsible, good. For. The next example. Exercise is good for everyone. Worried, excited. About. We are really excited about our trip to Argentina. We can also say surprised by. Prepositions and nouns. Many nouns have particular prepositions which formally follow them. There has been a large increase in the price of petrol. Does anyone know the cause of the fire? See also nouns and prepositions. We can compare it. Nouns, prepositions and verbs. We can also compare it. Many verbs go together with prepositions to make prepositional verbs. These always have an object. I just couldn't do without my phone. Robert accused her of stealing his idea. Phrasal prepositional verbs contain a verb, an adverb particle, and a preposition underlined. We cannot separate the particle and the preposition. The taxi is due any minute. Can you listen out for it? I cannot put up with this nose any longer. See also the next example. Prepositional verbs, phrasal prepositional verbs, prepositional phrases, prepositions, position and stranding. Traditional grammatical rules say that we shouldn't have a preposition at the end of a clause or sentence. However, we sometimes do separate a preposition from the word which follows it, its complement. This is called prepositional stranding, and it is common in informal styles. She was someone to whom he could talk. It's a formal example. She was someone who he could talk to, informal one. Which room are they having breakfast in? Informal. In which room are they having breakfast? It's a formal example. If we leave out words that are clear from the context, ellipses, we can use WH questions with WH word stranded preposition. A. The office is moving next year. B. Really? Where to? It's a question. A. I'm going to buy some flowers online. B. Who for? A. My mother. C. Also. Word order and focus. Ellipses. Okay, word order. Let's speak about word order. In linguistics, word order, also known as linear order, is the order of syntactic consequence of a language. Word order typology studies it from a cross-linguistic perspective and examines how languages employ different orders. Correlations between orders found in different syntactic domatic are also of interest. The primary word orders there are of interest. The consequent order of a clause, namely the relative order of subject, object, and verb, the order of modifiers, adjectives, numerals, demonstratives, positives, and adjuncts. In a known phrase, the phrase of adverbials. Some languages use relatively fixed word order, often rely on order of consequence to convey grammatical information. Other languages often those that convey grammatical information through inflection. Allow more flexible word order, which can be used to encode grammatic information, such as topicalization or focus. However, even languages with flexible word order have a preferred of basic word order, with other word orders considered maked. Consistent order, it defines in terms of a definite verb. Two arguments, namely the subject and object. Subject and object are here understood to be nouns, since pronouns often have to display different word order properties. Thus, a transitive sentence has logically possible basic word orders. About 40% of the world languages deploy subject-object-verb order, COV. About 42% of the world languages deploy subject-verb-object-word. A smaller fraction of language deploys as a subject-object order. The remaining three arrangements are rare: verb, object, subject. Slightly more commonly than object-verb-subject. It is the rarest by a significant margin. Consistent word orders There are all possible word orders for the subject, object, and verb in the order of common to rarest. Examples use she as the subject, los as the verb, and him as the object. COV is the order used by the largest number of distinct languages. Languages using it include Japanese, Korean, Mongolian, Turkish, and Indo-European. Dravidian languages, some like Pyrenees, Latin, and also COV it has. Normal word order, but confirms less to the general tendencies of such languages. A sentence glossing as she, him loves would be grammatically correct in these languages. CVO languages include Arabic dialects, English, Spanish, Portuguese, Bulgarian, Macedonian, Serbia, and Chinese languages, and Swiss, among others. She loves him. VSO languages include ancient Egyptian, biblical, classical Arabian languages, and the Philippine languages. Loves she him. VSO language include Philippine, France loves him she. Official languages, she, he loves him. Languages include also Varro, she, he loves. Sometimes patterns are more complex. Some Germanic languages have COV, subject, object, verb. In subordinate clauses, but V2, word order in main clauses, CVO, it has the common. Using the guidelines above, the monk word order is CVO. Many Semitic languages such as Arabian, Latin, Greek, Persian, Romanian, Russian, Turkish, Korean, Japanese, Finnish, they have strict word order. Rather, the sentence structure is highly flexible and reflects the pragmatic of the utterance. However, also in languages, it has the same usually pragmatic neutral order that is most commonly encountered in each language. Topic: prominent languages organize sentences to emphasize their topic comment structure. Nonetheless, there is often a preferred order in Latin, Turkish. COV is the most frequent outside of poetry, and Finnish is both the most frequent or obligatory when making this impossible. Just as languages may have different word orders in different contexts, so they may have both fixed and free word orders. For example, Russian has a relative fixed subject, verb, object, word order. But a much fewer CVS have other clauses, cases like Swiss. Transitive and intransitive clauses separately, with the simple S being restricted to the other occupant of an attractive clause. For the actor agent of a transitive clause, for example, object with P for patient as well. Thus, Russian is fixed AVO, absolute verb object, but flexible. In such approach, the description of word order extends more easily to languages that don't meet the criteria of the participiant recipient. For example, Mian language have been described with a rather uncommon verb word order. However, they are adjective, absolute language, and the specific word order is instructive. Transitive, for example, verb, verb, adjective, where the is and o arguments both they have the agreement on the verb. Indeed, many languages that some sort that have a VOS word order, they are like Mayan. Distribution of word order types. Every language falls under one of the 6 word order and conflicts somewhat disputed in the community. In the language where it occurs, dominant word order, every word grammatically is correct. The table below displays the word order surveyed by Dreyer. The 2005 study surveyed in 28 languages and the update 2013 study. Okay, let's look through phrasal verbs. It's an interesting subject. Do you know how to use verbs in the pick? In the kids up, turned to the music down, and looked after my cat. Test what you know with interactive exercises and read the explanation to help you. Look at these examples to see how phrasal verbs are used. This is the form. Please, can you fill it in? Why are you bringing this argument up now? Police are looking into connections between two crimes. We need to come up with a solution. Try this exercise to test your grammar. Grammar test number 1. Read the explanation to learn more. Grammar explanation. Phrasal verbs are very common in English, especially in more informal contexts. They are made up of a verb and a particle or sometimes two particles. The particle often changes the meaning of the verb. I called Jen to see how she was. Call to telephone. They have called off the meeting. Call off, it means to cancel. In terms of word order, there are two main types of phrasal verb, separable and inseparable. The first one, separable, what does it mean? With separable phrasal verbs, the verb and particle can be apart or together. They have called the meeting off, or they have called off the meeting. However, separable phrasal verbs must be separated when you use a personal pronoun. The meeting, they have called it off. Here are some common separable phrasal verbs. The first one, I didn't want to bring the situation up to the meeting. Bring up, start talking about a particular subject. Phrasal, can you fill this form in? I fill in, writing information in a form or document. I will pick you up from the station at 8 p.m. Pick up, collect someone in a car or other vehicle to take them somewhere. She turned the job down because she didn't want to move to Glasgow. Turn down, to not accept an offer. Non-separable. Some phrasal verbs cannot be separated. Who looks after baby when you are at home? When there is a personal pronoun, the verb and particle remain together. Who looks after her when you are at work? Here are some common non-separable phrasal verbs. I came across your email when I was clearing my inbox. Come across, it means to find something by chance. The caterpillar turned into a beautiful butterfly. Turn into, to become. It was quite a major operation. It took months to get over and feel normal again. To get over, it means to recover from something. We are aware of the problem and we are looking into it. Look into, to investigate. Some multi-word verbs are inseparable simply because they don't take an object. I get up at 7 a.m. With two particles, phrasal verbs with two particles are also inseparable. Even if you use a personal pronoun, you put it after the particles. Who came up with that idea? Came up with, it means to think of an idea or plan. Let's get rid of these old magazines to make more space. To get rid of, remove or become free of something that you don't know. I didn't really get on with some friends when I was a teenager. Get on with, like and befriended towards someone. Can you hear that noise all the time? Don't know how to put it with it? To put off with, tolerate something difficult or annoying. The concert's on Friday. I am really looking forward to it. To look forward to, be happy and excited means something that is going to happen. To do this exercise to test your grammar again. The second test. Try to another grammar lesson. Language level B2, upper intermediate. Give it 1-5, 2-5, 3-5. Let's pass to another subject. Subjunctive mood in the English language. Subjunctive mood, it is a mood with the help of forms of a semantic verb expresses a possible, supposed, desirable but unreal action or state, as well as the subjective attitude of the speaker towards them. Long live the king! Long live the king! I wish I were with my family. How I wish I could be with my family. Whoever you may be, madam, I am grateful to you. Whoever am I, madam, I am grateful to you. The subjunctive mood is formed in two ways, with the help of subjunctive, special forms of the semantic verbs, with the help of subjunctive 2, with the help of auxiliary verbs. Subjunctive 1. Subjunctive 1, or the substantive form of the subjunctive mood, is formed with the help of special forms of the semantic verb, with the help of endings or suffixes. In Old English, there were a large number of special forms of verbs used of the subjunctive mood. However, they were significantly simplified or lost, and in modern English there are only two forms of this mood, the present subjunctive and the past subjunctive. Present subjunctive. The present subjunctive mood coincides in its formation with the form of the bare infinitive in the semantic verb. The verb to be is used in the form with the persons of the number. This form of mood indicates conditional actions related to the present or future, but in modern English it is rarely used, mainly in poetry, fiction, scientific works, official documents. However, in American English, this form can be often used in colloquial speech. It is necessary that he go to the hospital. It is necessary for him to go to the hospital. We suggest that the meeting be postponed. We propose to postpone the meeting. The manager asked that I will present at the meeting. The manager asked me to attend the meeting. He be generous, wise or brave, he must be only a slave. No matter how generous, intelligent and brave he is, he will be a slave. The present subjunctive is also used in some set expressions. But it's so, so be it. God forbid, God forbid. Far be it from me to do so. It never ever occurred to me to do that. Past subjunctive. It means it has only one form for the verb to be. There were persons and numbers. The past subjunctive is used quite frequently in modern English and can refer not only to an unreal action in the past, but also to the present and future. I wish I were rich and famous. I would like to be rich and famous. I would help her if she were in need. I would help you if she was in need. Mom wished we were nicer to each other. Mom would like us to be kinder to each other. About subjunctive 2 or analytic form of the subjunctive mood is formed using the auxiliary verbs should, really, shall, would, may, might, and the bare infinitive of the semantic verb. Since these auxiliary verbs are formed from modal verbs, they sometimes also convey a modal nuance. I wish you would stop disturbing me. I want you to stop bothering me. She moved to another town so that Jack might not find her here. She moved to another town so that Jack wouldn't find her here. Mr. Harrison proposed that my car should be repaired in his garage. Mr. Harrison offered to fix my car in his garage. Use the subjunctive mood. The subjunctive mood is used to say simple sentences to express a wish, an unrealistic desire, sometimes swearing and cursing, and also in some set expressions. In simple sentence, the subjunctive one form is most often used, and such sentences are typical of literary speech. Wish. Long live the king. Long live the king. Successfully attended you. May success accompany you. May all your wishes come true. May all your wishes come true. Unrealistic desire, only the case of the verb to be, if only you were here, if only you were here. If only you were here again, I will only be again young. Horses, swearing, menace will be menace. Next subject is common mistakes in English. So let's get started. Less, fewer. Okay, so the first mistake that native speaker make is they confuse less and fewer. Less and fewer are very similarly used. However, there is a key grammar difference between them. We use the word less to refer to uncountable nouns, a quantity of uncountable nouns. We use fewer for countable nouns. So, for example, to use fewer, I could say, I made fewer mistakes on this test than I did it on the last one. And to use less, I could say, I made less money last year than I did this year. So, when you want to make a comparison with a countable noun, you may want to talk about a smaller quantity of something or a smaller amount of something with a countable noun. You should use fewer. If you are talking about an uncountable noun, you should use less. So please be careful, less or fewer. Less uncountable, fewer countable. You, your, you are. The next page is actually related mistake. Your and your. Yours and your. Your is passive, like something belongs to you is yours. Yours, your item. It is contracted with the form you are. You are great. You are funny. You are tired, for example. Native speakers often use making spelling mistakes because these two words sound the same, but actually they are grammatically different. So, another example sentence. Your performance was really great. My parents think you are great. My parents think you are great. So here we have the apostrophe RI and you are, so please be careful. Native speakers often make this spelling mistake. There is, there. Okay, so the next mistake that many native speakers make, again, a spelling related mistake. It has three types, yeah? There is there are, and here a location, there, the possessive form, something belonging to them, and they are the contrasted form or they are. Native speakers often speak mistakes with these three words because they sound the same. There, there are. They all sound the same, but in terms of grammar, they have different functions. So, in an interesting sentence, you could say, they are in the car over there, or they are over there in the car. So we can use all of these words in the same sentence, but in order to correctly express their meaning, we need to make sure the spelling is correct too. It and it is. The next one, the next mistake that many native speakers make is a punctuation mistake. Usually, the difference here is between its and its apostrophe it has. So the word its with an apostrophe can be the constructed form of it is, it has, depending on the sentence. Its with an apostrophe just means the possessive form of something. So something which belongs to it, sum it outside its discussion. So native speaker often forget it, which is gets an apostrophe. Does the possessive get apostrophe? So no, the possessive form doesn't take an apostrophe here. The only apostrophe are the only contrasted form of it is, it has. So please don't make these mistakes that native speakers make. In the sentence, I saw Star Wars, it's a really cool movie. Its effects are awesome. Nuclear. Nuclear, okay. The next mistake is a pronunciation mistake. Many native speakers make this mistake. Many high ranks officials, presidents make this mistake, politicians make this mistake also. The word nuclear, it is spelled N. However, many people pronounce this word for some reason. I don't know why it is, but many people says nuclear instead of nuclear. If you pay attention to the news, you will probably hear this after a short discussion of this topic. Somebody will say the word nuclear. I don't know what it is, but you should say nuclear. You should pronounce it correctly. Don't pronounce nuclear as nuclear. Could have is okay. The next mistake that native speaker make is again a spelling, usually a written problem. It's could have and could have. Could have, yeah, they are also like, it has mistake here. We don't use the could have. Could have, it has no grammar mistake. Rather, when we native speaker use the contracted form could have, it sounds that could have. So, for example, I could have come to party if I finish my work. Or could I have just come here last week? It's could have, but when speaking in speech, it sounds like of and could va, because the contracted form sounds like f, like o, Just dear students, thank you for your attention. Have a nice day. Goodbye.